Arthur Fils was supposed to arrive at Roland Garros as one of the most dangerous young names on the ATP Tour, but just days before the French Open, everything suddenly feels uncertain. A player who was flying high with titles, deep runs, and fearless tennis has now been stopped in his tracks by something far less predictable than an opponent on the other side of the net. In Rome, what looked like another promising clay court campaign turned into a worrying scene when Fils walked off the court after only a few games, leaving fans stunned and questioning what went wrong at such a crucial moment in his season. To understand how sudden this setback feels, you have to look at the momentum Arthur Fils had been building over the past few months. The 21-year-old Frenchman had just come off a breakthrough run in Miami, where he reached the semifinals, showing maturity against top opponents and proving he could handle pressure on big stages. Then came the clay swing and things only got better. In Barcelona, he went all the way and lifted the title, announcing himself as a serious threat on his favorite surface. Madrid followed with another strong showing, reaching the last four and making it clear that his rise was not a short-term burst but a steady climb toward the elite level. However, the momentum came crashing down in Rome at the Italian Open, where expectations quickly turned into concern. Facing Andrea Pellegrino, Fils never truly got into rhythm. After losing the first 3 games, he began to show visible discomfort and soon called for a medical timeout off the court. When he returned, it was clear something was not right. He dropped serve again, fell behind 0-4, and despite trying to continue, the pain in his hip became too much to ignore. At 15:30 in the 5th game, he made the difficult but necessary decision to retire, ending his match after just 22 minutes of play and leaving the crowd with more questions than answers. After the match, Fils confirmed what many feared, revealing that he had been dealing with hip pain since the early stages of the contest. He explained that he felt the issue in just the 2nd game and immediately tried to manage it with medical assistance, but nothing provided relief. His message was clear and honest, showing both frustration and maturity. Rather than pushing through and risking a more serious injury, he chose to stop early, fully aware that the bigger goal was only a few weeks away in Paris. In his own words, he emphasized that Roland Garros was too important to gamble with, and that protecting his long-term health had to come first, even if it meant walking away in Rome. While Fils' exit dominated headlines, it also created an unexpected opportunity for Andrea Pellegrino, who found himself advancing to the 3rd round of a Masters 1000 event after a dramatic turn of events. Ranked outside the top 150, Pellegrino had already fought his way through qualifying with impressive wins, showing resilience and belief against higher-ranked opponents. His reward is now a meeting with Frances Tiafoe, a major step up in competition that will test just how far his momentum can carry him. But for Fils, this result only adds to the frustration. As he watches a tournament he was expected to dominate continue without him. Concerns around Fils' injury were further intensified by memories of his previous setback, when a stress fracture in his lower back kept him out of action for nearly 6 months last year. That absence had raised doubts about his durability, but his return in February this season showed strong resilience. He quickly found rhythm again, even reaching the final of the Qatar Open where he faced Carlos Alcaraz. Although he suffered a heavy defeat in that match, the run itself proved that he was back competing at a high level. It also gave fans hope that his body was finally ready to handle the demands of the tour again, making the Rome retirement even more concerning. Another major talking point in Fils' rise this season has been his decision to bring in Goran Ivanisevic as a super coach for the clay swing. Known for guiding Novak Djokovic to multiple Grand Slam titles, Ivanisevic brings a wealth of experience and a winning mentality that few coaches can match. His short-term collaboration with Fils was seen as a bold move, combining youthful energy with proven championship knowledge. Alongside his primary coach Ivan Sinkis, Fils has been experimenting with a shared coaching structure designed to refine his game on clay and improve his decision-making in key moments. Early signs suggested that the partnership was already paying off before the unfortunate setback in Rome. The big question now is what comes next for Arthur Fils, and whether this setback in Rome is just a precautionary pause or something that could seriously impact his French Open campaign. When a player is in this kind of form, especially at 21 years old, momentum becomes everything. You are not just chasing wins, you are building belief with every match, every rally, every deep run. That is why this hip issue has created such a wave of concern among fans and analysts alike, because it arrives at the worst possible time, right before a Grand Slam on home soil where expectations are already massive. Roland Garros is not just another tournament for French players. It is an emotional stage, a place where careers can be defined or reshaped in a matter of weeks. At the same time, there is still a sense of cautious optimism. Phil's made a clear decision not push through pain, and that alone suggests he is thinking long-term rather than risking another long injury layoff. His previous back injury taught him how quickly things can spiral when you ignore warning signs, and that experience may actually help him manage the situation more intelligently. Modern tennis demands not only talent but also smart scheduling and injury awareness, especially for young players who are trying to break into very top of the game while still protecting their bodies. If he does recover in time, there is no doubt that Phil's remains one of the most exciting dark horses heading into Roland Garros. His explosive baseline game, fearless attitude, and recent clay court results make him a player nobody would want to face in early rounds. But tennis rarely follows a perfect script, and fitness will now decide everything. Fans will be watching closely for updates, hoping this is just a minor scare rather than a serious setback that derails his momentum. So now the conversation shifts from what Phil's has achieved to what he might still achieve in Paris. Will we see him walk out onto clay of Roland Garros fully fit and ready to continue his rise, or will this injury force him to step back at very moment his career was gaining serious momentum? That is the uncertainty that makes the story so compelling right now, and honestly, it is the kind of situation that defines early chapters of young champion journey. What do you think happens next for Arthur Fils at Roland Garros?